while he smiles with a malicious grin. His pet got caught in the mousetrap and that's why he has blood on his face and hands. Now we follow Laura, her partner Greg, and their son Jamie. His father walks away to answer a call. Laura continues moving things and by an accident she meets Elliot. Greg comes back and Laura seems to be a little bit jealous, cause his assistant is always calling him up. Suddenly, the kid falls into the water and Elliot quickly runs to Jamie. They are quite grateful for his help and decide to invite him to dinner, at which we know her friend Miranda. She finds Elliot quite attractive, so much that she would even have sex with him. Her husband Billy interrupts her to tell her to finish dinner. Before she leaves, she says that if men were on a diet and worked out from time to time, she would be a much more attentive wife. While Greg talks to his assistant, Elio talks about a painting on the wall. Laura used to paint before, when she had a studio, but her husband remodeled it to a shed. At dinner, they mention that they won't remodel the house. Luckily, Elliot is very good at this kind of things, and on top of that, he offers them a discount.
Wow, what a nice fella.
At night, Greg wants to have a little intimacy, but Laura tells him that she doesn't feel up to it, and that they better try it next day. Next morning, they both go for a run. Miranda is jealous that her friend passes time with an attractive man. She wants to know if he is married. Well, it's very likely that he's single because he doesn't carry any ring, so Miranda feels more attracted to him and wants to have sex with him more than ever. Miranda has a plan, so asks Laura for some help. Back at home, Laura sees Elliot through the window and talks to him. She doesn't stop looking at his abs, and now she takes a bath and we see that Elio walks by. Laura decides to buy some furniture for decoration. As though he was chasing her, Elio shows up in the same store and gives her an orange juice to try. Freshly squeezed, he also gives her a chocolate cake to taste. It's from his favorite pastry shop, but when they were having dinner, Elio told them he was not from the city. So, how he knows the location? He says that he used to go with his mother and that he has a relative who lives nearby. She wants to know where his mother lives, but his answers were quite evasive. Really, dude? When they go back home, Miranda shows up and she tries to have a conversation with him. Laura shows up too. Miranda wants to know if he has a partner. Elliot says he's single at the moment but has a prospect. He says this while looking at Laura. They go check the boat because someone destroyed the deck. Elliot tells Laura her husband said he was in a meeting with his assistant, then goes to store some stools, while Laura searches the boat. Upon entering, find messy things and also female underwear.
You son of a bitch!
Elliot comes back. Laura shows him what she found. It turns out Greg's assistant joined a dating app and appears with the same underwear. Elliot takes her to his boat to console her. He says her husband is unfaithful, but it doesn't mean her life should stop. He advises Laura to close this chapter and move on. How convenient, right?
That makes sense to me.
Then we send Elliot crying next to a picture frame of when he was a little, his mother and some of her lovers with a stained face and trimmed. For those who don't know yet, Elliot is the little kid we saw in the first scene. On the other hand, Laura wants to know where her husband spent the night. Greg seems to have been working with his assistant until late night. He reaches for Laura, but she stops him. Laura and Elliot are left alone, and while she shows us, Elliot appears and takes off his clothes. Gets in the shower, they both kiss, and they start to play in a cooperative way.
Yes! Yes!
But since YouTube is very sensitive to these issues, I'll censor this bit.
Oh, come on!
Next day, Laura decides to talk to Greg, who watches a couple kissing and he remembers the first time they kissed. He tells her about an experience they had similar to one Laura had. Laura says she found purple lace panties in the boat. He gets angry because he knew someone had got into the boat. As he knows her perfectly, he says there seems to be something that is affecting her, but Laura decides to keep the secret and tells him everything's alright. Laura goes back home with Miranda and finds Elliot playing with Jamie. Miranda tells Elliot one day they should play soccer and also mentions the following: "I am very good with balls." Really? Well, that's good to know, right? Anyway, Elio wants to know if Greg usually plays with Jamie, and Greg only seems to be focused on working. So Elio says he now will spend time with him. Jamie goes to play with his friend, and Laura takes the chance to talk about a delicate topic with Elliot. She thinks, as she's married to Greg, what they did was a mistake, and it should have never happened. Elio makes her realize her husband never hangs out with his family and only spends time working. He doesn't value what he has and that she must be on a pedestal. Laura is in denial, and even though they have some issues, she thinks Greg's faithful to her. Elio hugs her and she feels terrible. She can't even look in the mirror without thinking that she was unfaithful to Greg. But she contradicts herself and starts repeating the same mistake. Over the time, Elio cuts out the photos in which Greg appears and replaces them with his pictures.
That dude scares me.
Elio comes back and gives her flowers for her birthday, but Laura's birthday is tomorrow. Laura doesn't understand how he knows so much information, even the flowers are her favorites. Laura can't continue cheating on her husband. She thinks he's a nice person, but she has a family. She doesn't want to see him again when she comes back home. Over the time, Greg throws a surprise party. Even Greg's assistant, Anna, congratulates her, so that's why they spend so much time together. Greg comes back with Elliot. He introduces him to his assistant, Anna, but he doesn't stop looking at Laura. He apologizes and goes away. Anna follows him. She tells him that she feels bored, and he takes her to his boat. Laura and Greg make it up, but on the other hand, a girl has an accident and tries to get her necklace back, and the corpse of Anna comes afloat. Miranda and her husband watch the news and share it with Greg, but right at that moment, Elio takes him from behind. Laura hears various noises and grabs her bat. She was sleeping. When she walks, she makes a wound with a glass on the floor. Greg recovers, unties himself, and discovers all the photos that Elio cropped. He kicks Greg and says Laura is his. Laura tells Miranda she doesn't know anything about Greg. She tells Miranda everything, even her love affair with Elliot, and she feels guilty. Then he became obsessive. Miranda advises her to be very careful. Then she visits the pastry shop that Elliot talks about and sees the wall of the best clients. Finds the photo of him and his mother. He used to go when he was a child. His father left his mother before he was born. Elliot got personally involved with his mother to the end. Elliot was fired and moved in with his mother and her new husband. He didn't like a grown man being in his house. As she leaves, the owner tells her the night before, Elliot bought a cake for his fiancée. He plans to get married with a widowed artist. When she goes back home, she senses the smell of food. She thinks her husband came back. She comes into the kitchen to find Elliot. Laura runs away, but Elliot stops her. Laura wants to know about her husband, but Elliot already handled the matter. He gets angry and yells at her. He says Laura looks just like her, and Laura realizes he's talking about his mother and wonders how the fire in her house happened. Several memories come to his mind, in which his mom appears with a float with a bottle of gasoline. He has treated her with respect, and now it's time to get a lesson. He doesn't want to hurt her, but she keeps rejecting him. Laura begs for forgiveness and says he wants them to be a family. When she comes down, she finds Jimmy tied to a chair next to him. She takes the opportunity to look through the window. Elio comes back and commands them to go upstairs. He leaves Jamie in a room and takes Laura to another room to play with her. Jamie opens the door. Traumatized Elliot begins to have memories of when he was a kid. Laura takes a chance and hits him with a bottle. They both run away, and instead of leaving the house, she sends Jamie to Miranda's for help. Elio shows up and grabs Laura. She defends herself, but in the end, she gets a hammer blow to her face. The traumatized leaves her in his boat. With a knife, she manages to get out of the bag. Elio comes back and she sticks the knife in his abs.
That one hurt him.
Laura follows a trace of blood to find his very badly injured husband. Wakes him up, and it seems like his leg is broken. She takes the radio, but Elio cut the wire. She decides to get out and Elio shows up. She hits him with the flashlight, runs away, and ends up in a place with no exit. She plays the victim, but it goes wrong. Elio grasps her right after she kicks him out of the window, and the blow caused him a head injury. Now her husband spent more time with Jamie, and when she opens the fridge, finds the cakes from Elio's favorite pasta shop, and for a moment she thinks he is still alive. But it seems Greg met a nice girl who recommended him those cakes. And with a little strange end, we finish this movie review. Don't forget to subscribe, to leave your like